Hello again, friends. My name is Emily. Welcome back to the ducks. Welcome back to Hobart's Library. We're so happy to have you here. If you hear honking, that's my ducks. So our chickens and our ducks are allowed to roam during the day, and they've decided to roam right by the front porch, and I've decided to film on the front porch today. So, I guess that just is what it is. So today we're going to do a couple different things because I actually have so many videos I have to film. Celestia tagged me in a tag that I still haven't done because I'm a bad friend. But I've recently been keeping a list of things in books that give me the ick. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it does. The girls that get it, and the girls that don't. But then also I went to a bargain bookstore today, and I thought I would just throw that in this video because I have another book haul that I already filmed and I haven't edited it, and honestly I don't know if I'll ever release that one because I was having a bad day the day that I filmed it and I was not on my A game, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to finesse that one with editing to make it look like I wasn't miserable the whole day. I'll give it a shot, but no promises that that video is ever going to come out. Should we start with the book haul or should we start with the Icks? I think we're going to start with the Icks. Okay, so I have my Icks on my phone, but I film with my phone. And so I printed them out, emojis and all, so that as I'm reading them, I can get the vibe of what I was thinking when I wrote them. So my first bookish ick . Wow. They're over here because the water is over here, and they want water. And they are demanding a sip. If you hear splashing, I'm gonna let them. They're allowed to drink. They're allowed to jump in the trough, and I think they're going to. So, my first bookish ick is thrillers that end in an inspirational note. So that's like when 40% of the characters die, but the main character and her love interest make it, and it's talking about they'd been through so much and they had so much left to face, but they would face it together. Exactly that. Honestly, if you're gonna do that, I wish all the characters had died. I wish it'd been 100% of the characters, not 40%. I would prefer almost anything to that. That is not pleasing to me. And I need books to end on with a happy ending. I need a happy ending. Even in thrillers. But not that. That is not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. I've read some really good books that ended well. It ended with most of the characters surviving. And it ended with justice being served, and it's great. But when they end in an inspirational note, I wish you had died. I wish you had not made it to the end. Alright, next one. Misunderstandings between love interests that simply refuse to talk to each other in order to solve their problems. I have read books where the whole book, the main couple refused to speak to each other. They hated each other for the whole book because they refused to talk about it was literally a misunderstanding. It wasn't that deep. It wasn't actually what they thought it was. And you're gonna be mad the whole book. by the end of it, I don't care, because you're both immature and stupid, and I don't like either of you anymore. So I don't care whether you get together or not. I don't care anymore. In fact, I hope you don't. If you're gonna be like that, I hope you two never understand each other, and you part ways, and you both hate each other for nothing. I wish you would. This one I read it's the reason it was on my mind when I wrote this is because it's a trope that was in a book recently. And that is, it's giving violet eyes, pale skin, dark hair. And what I mean by that is it's giving fiction that a 14-year-old Emily would write. It's giving, like, 13-year-old just discovered Wattpad and is writing a romance story. It's giving, what was that book, Fallen? With the fallen angel girl. It's just like you really wanted to make your character physically very unique, and you can do that, but don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's take a sip while we listen to the Ballad of My Ducks. Okay. The next one I feel like a lot of my girlies are going to get. Christian book classification, but no mention of God other than attending church once or twice. Or, quote, I sent up a silent prayer.
And why aren't you in uniform?
I'm about to send up a silent prayer if y'all don't start taking God seriously. The girls who get it, get it. And I think you girls get it. Next one. This one might be a little bit niche, but when a book is based in an old time period, name whichever one you want, if it's 1800s, 1920s, 1400s, etc. So the author tries to write like they were born in 1372 and their families died by the curse of moldy bread. Also, or when a book's characters are scientists, so instead of solving or figuring out, they deduce or equate. These books had the ones where the book's characters were scientists, so they talked like morons. They talked like, they said, I don't know who told this author that scientists are not people. That they're in fact robots, but scientists are human people. And they talk like normal people. Like, I've met scientists. I'm friends with scientists. I know them. I know all of them. And they are normal folks. Like, they're not just using big words for funsies. Like, they're not pretentious. They're very normal people. And also, when a book is based in an old time period, I enjoy when they use slang terms and stuff like that in the dialogue, but it's when the author in non-dialogue sections uses words like tis that now I've got a problem. Because, ma'am, you are not Jane Austen. No. The next one is another one that I read very recently. In fact, it was the last book that I tried to read. And that is, it's giving, wow, she's really good.
She's really good.
This one is when a main character can, like, do no wrong. Like, even when she fails, she succeeds. Even when she fails, she looks really cool doing it. The main character in this book, I tried to read this book because I love when villains are the love interest. I know that's bad, but I love when villains fall in love with non-villains, and it turns out either one of two things. Either they're not actually villains, they just have to appear like a villain for one reason or another, but they're not actually villains, or redemption arc. It's giving Saul on the road to Damascus, except Saul changed his ways for his love of the Lord. And I like when these men change their ways for their love of violet eyes, pale skin, dark hair. In this book that I read recently, even when the main character would fail, she would end up on top. Like, she would end up looking cool or redeeming that failure immediately, or she would be the character that solved the puzzle because all the other characters were freaking out and panicking, and she was like keeping her cool. And it's like, she's not one to keep her cool. Like this main character's defining personality trait is anger. She is constantly mad all the time. That is something that and also her motivations are like all over the place. I don't recommend this book at all. I DNF'd it at like 40% or something. Anyway, I loved the main male character, but how long can you only read a book for the one character? How long can I do that? I can't. Infallible. And here's the thing. Sometimes it works. But only sometimes. I've only seen it work, I think, twice. And maybe it's because those characters who it works on are very proud, arrogant characters. Well, one of them is very arrogant. I'm thinking of Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot, two detectives. Hercule Poirot, very proud, very like he's very likable, I will say. Of course, obviously jumping to my man's defense immediately. But he is very proud. He's very, he cares a lot about his appearance. He knows that he's smart, and he says that he's smart. And maybe it's us knowing that he is flawed, but also knowing, yeah, he is always right. But also he's with Sherlock Holmes, he has a much more obvious flaw, and that is he is arrogant. He's a sociopath. He doesn't care about other people. So we can see his very obvious flaw, whereas, and Hercule Poirot has the flaw of, he's very proud, but it's, in him, I guess it's kind of funny, whereas in Sherlock Holmes, it wasn't written to be funny. It was very much written, I don't think he was meant to be unlikable, because he's very smart, he's very clever, but he doesn't care about people. Whereas the wow, she's really good kind of character is like the fake humble, whenever somebody does something really, really, really awesome, and they're like, no, guys, I'm just like everybody else. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. I hate that character. Okay, next. My next one is, series. That's it. That's the ick. Next one. When specific terms or words get repeated within a page or two, which is the reason that I do not read any Mary Connolly books. I've tried repeatedly to read her books, but I just don't care about them. I tried to read this book, and I think 3 times in the span of a page or two, the main character floated. Not actually floated, but she would, in a cartoon, whenever a smell of something delicious comes through the air, and so the main character catches a whiff of it and floats to follow it. That's what that scene sort of was the main character smelled some really delicious food, and it said that she was floating down towards it. She wasn't actually, but that term being used over and over and over again, it's okay, I gotta go. I gotta dip. Goodbye. That was fun while it lasted, but no, I can't do this. And I've tried a few different books of hers. I don't know if that was the reason I stopped reading all of them. I'd have to go back and check. It might just be that I just didn't like her writing style. But, okay. Those are all of the icks that I had written down. So now we're going to move on to a teeny tiny little baby book haul. So I went to a new bargain bookstore that I've never gone to before. And I found a few books in a series and then 2 other books that I wanted to show you guys. So, obviously they need cleaned up because these are library books, like used library books that were donated. So this is Agatha Christie. I really love Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie and Jane Austen are probably my favorite authors. Well, I like Karen Whittemire too. So for the Agatha Christie books, I got They Came to Baghdad, The Man in the Brown Suit, Cat Among Pigeons, The Underdog and Other Stories, and Murder in Retrospect. I don't know if I've read all of these. I don't think I have. But I have read Cat Among Pigeons. That's a Hercule Poirot book. But I just loved these editions where you can only even tell what book it is by the spine. You can tell that these are library books. Aw! These came from a middle school. No one was reading them at the middle school? Lame. I liked these so much whenever I saw them. I was only going to get one, but then I was like, well, they're only $5.99 each, and there's only 5 of them, and I've never seen covers like this before on Agatha Christie books, so I bought all of them. And then I got 2 history books. So I got The Book of Amazing History. I don't know why these ducks have spent this whole video over here. Yeah, you're quiet now. They don't like me. They don't like anybody. They don't like people. So I don't know why they're over here by me. I think it's out of spite. It's because they don't like me that they're over here. This is the Book of Amazing History. And the little fun fact that it gives on the front is sea serpents on medieval maps noted dangerous and unknown areas. So you can see on this old map, like the areas that are marked by like serpents and stuff like that. On the inside, the different like sections of this book are voyages and discoveries, momentous events, lowlights, sights and structures, towering figures, notable groups, let's hear it for ladies, health and medicine, the art of it all, pastimes, pop culture, food and drinks, crime, and strange stuff. And it looks like there's just a bunch of like fun facts in each one, which works for me because that's how I read better that way anyway, which is actually why I chose this American history book, 7 Events That Made America America and Proved That the Founding Fathers Were Right All Along. I don't know anything about this author, so I don't know anything about this book. Other than the obvious title here. I'm trying to learn more about American history because I don't know enough about American history. I've never liked American history. I still am not really interested in it, but I feel obligated to learn more about it because things are getting weird. And I feel like maybe I should be keeping track of some of that. So the reason that I chose this 7 Events That Made America America is because it's broken down into 7 different events. That makes things a lot easier for me. The same way that that one is broken down into sections and then each section has subsections, that makes things so much easier. Whereas, like, there are whole entire big books on, like, the Civil War. I could never. I want you to know genuinely, I could never read those. I don't have a brain for it. But if you are able to take a lot of topics and break them into small sections for me, like this is not a big book. This is a pretty little book. And it holds 7 different topics. If you can give me those, I can get through it. And I can comprehend it and retain it and understand it. I can't do one topic for that much. At least not American history. I can't do American history like that. I can't do any history like that. Okay, so that's our video for the day. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out on my front porch with me. We're still at Hobart's Library. It's inside. I just decided to sit outside because I don't enjoy the weather anymore. I don't enjoy being outside much anymore. I enjoy it. I just don't get to enjoy it very much. So thank you so much for joining us here again at Hope Arts Library, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.